welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey with Clarita, the podcast where we will discuss valuable insights, resources, and motivation to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit. Let's build a supportive community together. Subscribe now to Begin, Build, Blossom, and let's embark on your business journey. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Begin, Build, Blossom. Today we have with us Alberta Henry. Alberta is the founder of Alberta Henry Photography Limited. Alberta loves capturing memories, personalities, and milestones that are authentic and real. Alberta believes that photos should capture the mood, colors, energy, and details of the session that she's working on. This is why she loves chatting and planning with clients ahead of the session to get a feel of what they are looking for and to plan on how she can execute. Some of the sessions that she works on include weddings, honeymoon and anniversaries, engagements, branding, and baby showers. She has been featured in publications such as People Magazine. I am quoting Alberta here when I say, "Our goal is to create photographs that leave an imprinted blend of emotion and creativity, and for a truly unique end product and experience in your hearts. As a husband and wife photography team, we are not just business partners, we are also each other's best friends. We work collaboratively and creatively to bring you the highest quality images." Thank you, Alberta, for joining us and welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, and I will add here a few things. I've known Alberta for quite a while. We went to high school together at Swazel Secondary School on the beautiful island of St. Lucia. Also, Alberta worked with my family and I, was it last year, where she was our photographer for our family reunion. So up to this day, my family says, washing machine, anytime we're taking a photo. They really loved the session. Both you and your husband made us feel so comfortable. The end product, oh my God, it was amazing. We all love it so much. We have one cousin in particular. There's this smile that you captured this smile of hers. And I feel like that's the happiest I've ever seen her. So thank you so much. We really enjoy our photos.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're going to get started with a section we call Rapid Fire. It gives us an opportunity to get to know you better. So I will ask you questions and we can have quick responses, even though it's called Rapid Fire. If you want to expound on anything, please go ahead and do so. So first of all, we'd like to get started with two words. One that describes you now and one that described you as a child.
So that's one word really. I've always been determined as a child and now. However, as a child, I think I was very limited in what I could do, what I could see myself doing in the future. So, but I was always determined or ambitious. But as a child, I was just a little more limited into my worldview.
Thanks for sharing that with us. And we went through some of these during the introduction, but I will ask anyway. So tell us the name of your business and what you do.
The name of our business is Alberta Henry Photography Limited. We are a husband and wife team. We love to capture real and authentic images from weddings, photo shoot sessions, surprise proposals. We love to capture babies, kids, families, anything that has a love aspect to it, where we can engage with the family, we can see their laughter, we can see their joy, we can see their love for each other. We love to capture that.
Yes, and that you do. I follow your page and I always look out for those photos. You do an amazing job. How many years have you been in business?
I've been shooting for about 12 years now, but officially in Alberta Henry Photography Limited for about 4 years.
And do you do that full-time or part-time?
Actually, full-time / part-time. I am a teacher. My husband is also a teacher, which we do full time. But because of our schedules, like we have weekends off, most people want to capture sunsets when we're off. We kind of have two full time jobs. So we work during the day and then we work in the evening and into the night. We work on during vacation. So during vacation, we get to experience what it's like to be a photographer full time, no school. And during the peak school time, we kind of that is also kind of a low time for photography as well. So it kind of works out. It's a lot,
Oh,
but it
wow.
works out.
Okay, nice. And is there one book in particular you'd recommend that we read?
The Bible. I think there's a lot of lessons that you can learn from the Bible.
So far, you're the second guest that has answered this way. So that says something. Okay. So we are going to move on to the begin section. So let's start with maybe if you can tell us the first time you actually thought of starting a business.
When we started, it wasn't really like a business. It was like a side hustle. Like I needed to make extra money to go to work because I was 2 hours from home, so I needed bus money. So I said, well, if I can make bus money every month, I'll be fine because bus money was not cheap. So it was like a side hustle. Then after it could make bus money, then we said, okay, well, it can get cover certain expenses, and that was how we looked at it. Never really as a business. It was only until but we were not registered. We had to be registered. That was on my to-do list for years and years, but we never got registered. But when we did this after COVID, there was this MSME, small business thing, and I enrolled in that course, and they taught you about finance, about marketing, and all of that thing, all of those things. And I began to look at it a little more seriously. That hey, I need to look at my business model and see because I've never done any business at school. I never did any accounting or principles of business, nothing like that. So I had no clue what to do. But it was only then I realized I can take this hustle, this side hustle, and then run it more efficiently, run it with a better client experience. Not that the clients were not satisfied, but have a better experience, have a website, and an overall better product slash business slash experience.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background?
I am a chemistry lecturer right now. So I have a bachelor's in chemistry and mathematics, double major, and I have a master's of philosophy in chemistry, more theoretical chemistry. So I teach chemistry. I've taught chemistry now for 22 years. So yes, I'm a chemistry teacher and a photographer. It works.
Amazing. So, so impressive. And you mentioned about a course where you learned more about business. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about that?
It was the name escapes me right now, but it was for MSME, which was a micro small businesses. After COVID, it was a future tourism project or something like that, where they reached out to small businesses to see how COVID impacted them and to help them, kind of give them a little boost. So they taught us about websites and e-commerce and a lot of things that I was really struggling with at the time in terms of, especially e-commerce. How do you get paid online? Because not everybody can physically bring you cash or physically do this. How do you reach persons on a website? How do you market? Looking at loss and profits and, all of those things. And we had to come up with a business improvement plan, and we had mentors, and the mentors would help us with that improvement plan. And at the end of it, the big businesses, those were the big plans, they had a certain amount of money, and then those were the smaller plans would have to get up to I think 4,000 US dollars. And in the end, most persons who graduated, maybe close to 100 of us, got at least 4,000 US dollars to implement the plan. So they helped you with the plan, and then you had to implement the plan, show the receipts, like this is what I did. And I looked at the plan last month, and every single thing on the plan I accomplished. Like it was just amazing to see where we were then in 2021, I think they ran it, to where we were this year, or even the end of last year. That it worked.
Wow, congratulations. That sounds like it took a lot of dedication, hard work, and it's great that such an opportunity was made available. And was it virtually or in person?
It was virtual. Like around that time, everything was virtual. So that was a blessing. So it was virtual.
Right. Thank you. And I want to touch a little bit on mentoring because you mentioned that you had a mentor. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
It was, I love mentoring because, as a teacher, I always bring mentors to my students. And it was very helpful to have him to look at the plan and to say, hey, why are you considering this? Why don't you consider that? Like things you don't even think about. My mentor was actually business teacher at the same college that I teach at, but I don't think I've ever met him more. But I think I know who he is. And when he asked me to refine certain things and to change certain things, it was just really, really helpful. Like I would not think of it myself, and having someone guide you. Even when we had a social media marketing person, he was based in someplace in the BVI or someplace around there, and to have him and listen to him and to engage in that class, it showed me that I didn't know as little as I thought, but there's a lot that I would love to learn.
Let's go back to your upbringing. Can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how it led you to where you are today?
Um, as a child, like I told you, I was limited, not limited in me, like how what I wanted for myself, but limited in what was around me. I was always told to do my best and be first. My mother would not accept anything other than first. So I knew I had to be the top student. So I was a top student in primary school. And the first day I entered secondary school, I told myself I would be the top student at the end of Form 5. And then when I went to A level, I said I will be the top student at the end of A level. But beyond that, they never pushed me. They never gave me any insight. They never, it was just to get to that point, be the top, and then be a teacher after that. And they were content with that. And I guess I was at that time because I didn't know any better. I had no mentors. I had nobody telling me, hey, you could do this, you could apply for this scholarship, you could go here, you could join this organization. Nobody told me this, which is why I always mention it to my students right now. Like, where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself? Even if I'm teaching you in year one, but what are your plans after you leave year two? Like, do you have money? Are you financially able? What can you do? So when I started teaching, and I guess when I got to go to university, I went to University of the West Indies, Cavehill campus in Barbados. Then I realized, hey, I can get out of this box. I can make things happen. And even before that, I would make things happen, even in my little box. Like I used to head Young Leaders Club, and Young Leaders Club, it was just we got to the regional stage, and then there we could have even brought in, like I always bring up this, we could have brought in this great superstar. He's great now, but at the time he was starting out, Kes. And I remember speaking on the phone with Kes. I was a young leader teacher at about 19 at the time, and then for the next, speaking to him about coming to St. Lucia to do a concert for the student, like a lot of things I could have made happen at that young age, before university, before even leaving the island officially. So that kind of pushed me towards just keep going, but stop thinking small, stop thinking that you cannot do it. Even though I still kind of think small, I still am not thinking like way out of the box because I'm very content with where I am. I'm very content with being home. I'm not one of those people who are like looking for, like I'm content with being around my family. Family is important to me. And even after university, when I got the chance to go further, I said, no, I want to be close to family. So my master's was done in Barbados. And then straight after, got married, came home. My husband also believes in family. So we're in St. Lucia, but we don't believe that because you're in a small island that you have to treat yourself small, that you have to be small in the product that you give, in the services that you give to your clients. We always wanted that when we shoot somebody's wedding, even if your budget is small, or your wedding is small, that does not mean that your photos have to be subpar, that your photos can look like magazine photos, even if you spend 2 hours with us or 1 hour with us, like your photo could be on a magazine. So I don't know if that answered the question. I like to talk.
Oh, no, no, that does. Oh my gosh, you had me. I've been, oh, Alberta, you're one of the people I've wanted to hear their stories because we've known each other for so long. And then I remember seeing the work that you do. And always, I remember I've reached out to you and said, oh my gosh, you're cataloging basically all those kids. And they will really cherish that when they grow up to be able to see the different stages. And I just loved how you put so much effort in your work. And I've been a major fan. So I'm just
Thank
happy
you,
to
thank
be
you,
able
thank
to,
you.
you're most welcome. I'm happy to be able to just learn so much more about your journey. And in terms of your first client, I know you said it was a side hustle at the time, but how did you get that very first client?
When I first started, because we bought the camera when on our honeymoon, we got married in 2011, and I woke up one day wanting to shoot babies. I think it was because I saw somebody's picture she did of her baby. You know that person, but I'm not mentioning it. She did of her baby. So I was like, wow, I want to shoot babies. So when after we got married, I went back for my final year at uni, and I was shooting my friends for free, and I had this $50 photo shoot that I would do for people. So every time I remember my first client, I remember this lady. She's a teacher as well, but she was at UA, and I remember her shoot. I cannot remember anybody else's shoot, but her shoot was the first. And I remember a little baby. He was 11 days old, and his family found me on Facebook, and they came to my apartment. And I remember buying all these little props, and then we shooting him. It was like I was willing to try so many things then because I really wanted to shoot babies. So I remember them as my first. I'm not sure if they were my first, but I was in 2012 when I was finishing up my MPhil. So my $50 for the shoot.
And you mentioned getting the camera. So, someone looking to start now, what kind of equipment or how much capital you think they need to get started?
I would say we started with a basic camera, the 3100 Nikon at the time. That was the most basic. When we bought the camera, we bought it in St. Martin, and people in St. Martin, they want to push everything on you, right? And he's like, buy this one instead. And I said, no, this looks too complicated. I bought the simple starter camera. And what you have to invest in is lenses. So we learned what are the best lenses for portraits because we didn't want to shoot sports, we didn't want to shoot landscape. The kit it came with is not the best. So a 35 millimeter, a 50 millimeter, and an 85 if you can afford it. These are the best lenses to start if you want to shoot portraits, right? And if you have good glass, like photographers know you have good glass, your photos will look good. If you also know how to shoot, so then you work on your craft, you practice.
So, in terms of learning the craft, did you do any formal training? Was it mostly learning on your own?
When we were in Barbados, there was this club called PHOTACC, which is the Photography Association of the Cavehill campus. I believe that's what it was. So I was in PHOTACC. They had classes. I never attended the classes. I did what I had to do because there was a free photo shoot at the end, and so I was engaged and I wanted a free photo shoot, and we won the free photo shoot. I was going to have photo shoot. So I was involved just for the free photo shoot. But I learned on YouTube. I ask questions to other photographers. I have conversations with photographers on Instagram because the world is so small with this whole Instagram thing. So like I've spoken to the top photographers, like not about photography, but sometimes just to talk to them, to just feel like you're speaking to somebody who has done it, who's there.
Nice. And how do you end up speaking to those people? How did that
Instagram.
even
If I saw let's say Sandro was in St. Lucia, and I said, Stan, next time in St. Lucia, you might call him Uncle Stan. Make sure you put my name down, okay? I will just follow you. I will shoot. I will, do something. You reach out, you'll be amazed that people have time to speak to other people.
I am a true believer. I It's funny because I was speaking to a friend of mine just now, and I told him I've actually reached out to Oprah.
Then
I'm
Oprah check
laughing
her
because
own. Does she check her own messages?
I don't know, but I told him that people, I just love reaching out to people. Why
Yeah,
tell myself no? Let them do that.
yeah,
And if anything, they would have at least seen my name, you know?
yeah.
And I just love networking. You meet the
Mhm.
most interesting people when you least expect it.
Yes,
So, talking about investments, because you mentioned that you made investments, like doing a paid class.
right.
And I see so much. Okay, so first of all, you get to meet that person, you get to work with that person. So it is indeed an investment and it's an experience. That's beautiful. And that reminds me of actually, there is this life coach from St. Lucia, Lisa Dublin.
Hmm.
One of the guests, who's also a friend of mine, actually told me about her. And I started following her, and I'm realizing she does such awesome work. And she has
I know it.
yes, I think she was a lecturer at Sir
Yeah,
Arthur Lower.
I think she did the Wood Up challenge thing with the students. She was one of the mentors last year. I think
Oh, I am not sure, but I'm thinking it's who you probably have in mind. And she's somebody I've always admired just from a distance. I didn't know her, but she was in the public eye. And she actually has a coaching program that I plan to invest in. So when you said that, I thought of that because that's one way I feel like if you really want to grow, you should invest in yourself because it's a lot of money sometimes when you're trying to do those programs. So for me, sometimes I don't even think about the money itself. I mean, you have to, but I try to focus on what I will, how I will benefit, the just all the good things that come with that. And somehow, I don't know if it's the universe, somehow it works out. Like I know you mentioned when you write down something.
I have to do it.
Right. So I don't tell myself no. I tell myself this is what I'm gonna get, and it works out eventually.
And also with those programs, you get to meet other people who are the same level as you, or higher than you, and especially
Hmm.
since you have a podcast, so you have guests, like unlimited guests. So yeah, that's a good thing.
Yes, and in terms of collaborations, is that some? I know you mentioned collaboration earlier. So what does that look like for you?
Well, if we do collaboration with like videographers, so that's what we've done in the past. So if somebody wants like a videographer, we have a videographer that we work with that we recommend. We have certain makeup artists that we recommend, certain vendors that we recommend because working with especially weddings, you know who are the top vendors for this, who are the top violinists, who are the top, So when clients ask about something, if they reach me first, I could
Hmm.
send them to so and so and so and so, and they get to choose who they want. Or if they reach so and so first, so and so, they say these are the photographers that I like, and
Hmm.
then they get to do that. Like we work with some hotels that we are the preferred vendors of some hotels. So they would have a list of photographers which they send to the clients, and the clients go through and see which style that they love, and then they would choose us based on that. Some of them we are like the luxury option. So like if it's like certain sessions, they would not even recommend us for certain sessions because they want to keep us free in case they have something else. So if it's like something bigger, like a luxury wedding or something, then we are on that list instead of So it helps to work with people and to work well with people and to recognize everybody's efforts and to share that with clients.
And how do you get on those lists of I mean, to be on such a list where you're the luxury option, and that says a lot about the work you put in and the people you've met along the way.
Yeah, every time we've gotten on a list, it's they call us. So they would call us and say, what's your pricing? We would like to place you on there in case we need that for our clients. If clients want something specific, then they would know to call us. And I prefer it that way. I prefer that even that they've already shown clients, there are three people that you could work with and they choose us. I know they chose me because of what I offer, of what my work looks like, and they didn't just choose me because of my price, or they didn't choose me because it's a blessing to be on those lists, and it's a blessing to be recognized and for people to recognize us as an option for those weddings and those sessions.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And we are going to move on to the build section. So I know when it comes to team, from what I've heard, you work along, your husband works with
Yes.
you. You collaborate. You have a network of people. When you're doing an event, I guess you work with.
Mhm.
But I would like to hear more from you. What does team mean to you, and what does it look like in addition to what I just talked about?
Our team is small. Our team is myself, my husband, and we have a social media manager, Kimberly. She works with Alberta, that's her company, and she does our posting because you realize I'm posting very frequently on Instagram, and left to me, I would not be posting. So she posts, she does some stories sometimes. And sometimes she looks over the website. She's very efficient in writing letters. So if I had to write a letter to ask for some location or to ask for something, she would do those things. So she has a wide range of services. She does flyers and stuff and digital designs.
Yeah, and I definitely saw your team at work when we had our session with you.
The
And
umbrella. So
yes, you guys, the two of you work very well together. It's beautiful to see.
clients ask, is this umbrella special? No, 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 he's just shading me.
Yes, I remember. I was like, "Oh my God, this is beautiful," and he's doing it with so much love. He loves being there and supporting you,
Yeah.
and you both make an amazing team.
I could not do it without him. I have not shot anything without him. I did a session without him, but that's like family. I cannot shoot
Hmm.
without him.
Oh. And we talked a lot about building just now. And I know with building, sometimes we have struggles along the way. What has that looked like for you?
Struggles. Well, I get overwhelmed sometimes because you're working too close. I have papers to mark. Oh my goodness, I have like let me see, one, two, three, and I have to remember. I have like five folders of papers to mark, exams and all of that. So for me, struggle to be overwhelmed. Struggles for me would be turning down sessions because I have school, like seeing as if you feel as if you're limiting yourself, you're limiting your business and its growth because of this other thing which I really love. I love to teach, I love my students, but I was overwhelmed like a few years ago. Like I almost felt like, hey, let me just give this up. But COVID happened.
And in terms of success, what does success mean to you?
For me, what makes me happiest, what makes me feel accomplished is when I get, as soon as I send you a gallery, I get a response say, oh my God, that to me is success. Like if I don't get an immediate response, I'm like, oh my goodness, they don't love the photos. But when clients gush over the photos and then they post it and they keep posting it and they post it after a year, that to me is success.
And it sounds like that's what motivates you as well.
Yes, yes,
Is there any other thing you would highlight as a motivator?
the money. Not really. I mean, yeah, that's how people work. The
Money
money.
is right. You do need the money.
Yeah, but it's not the driving. The driving force is being able to provide people with just something that will give them for the rest of their lives. Like to give parents that snapshot of the baby at a certain age, or as we should be the kids and they grow older, they change. We shot a pair of twins, and every year their personality switched. So,
Really?
yeah, so like to see what your child was interested in at 1, at 2 years old, at 3 years old, and then who they grew up to be. Let's say they wanted to be an astronaut at 4, and then
Mhm.
they did end up being an astronaut. It's an amazing thing to give them that memory that they can look back on, to see what you look like on your wedding day, and to see, it's just amazing to do
Thank you. So, oh my gosh, I've really enjoyed this
that.
conversation. But we have come to the closeout section.
Already?
I know, right? So, if someone is looking to start a similar business to yours, what are three things you would recommend that they do right now to get started?
First of all, figure out like what you want to do. Like what's your brand? What do you want to shoot? Because I've noticed a lot of people they like to you see somebody and you want to copy their work, you can be motivated by someone's work. You can be motivated to try those type of things, but you should have your own style. Like you should have your own brand. So if somebody says Alberta Henry, they should know what your brand is. Like I had this planner who said, I knew you took that photo. Okay, I knew you took that photo just by looking at the way that people look in the photo. I knew you took that photo. So what is your brand? Do you shoot something that is always looks the same? Like some people have a certain color scheme, that is their brand. So when you see that those colors, you know that's that person. Some people have a certain mood to their photos. That's that. Some people like light and airy. Some people like dark and moody. Some people like colorful and vibrant. Right?
Mhm.
So figure out what you like. What do you want to shoot? Who you want to shoot? Do you want to shoot models? Do you want to shoot products? Do you want to shoot landscape? Sports? Do you want to shoot weddings? What do you want to shoot? And that is your brand. That is your niche. Once you have that, you figure out how to do it, how to do it well. So what do you need? What equipment do you need? What personality do you need? Because not every you can go shoot a wedding and then you just like and you're not speaking. You need a certain personality. So if you cannot work like that, if you cannot keep talking nonstop like me, keep talking nonstop, you could do products. You could do very well with products. If you don't want to work on weekends, maybe not shoot weddings. If you don't want to spend long hours on your feet, maybe you do product photography where you sit and that sort of thing. So figure out what you want to do and learn how to do it, learn the equipment you need, learn the lenses that you need, all of that stuff. And the third thing, just know that you have to be consistent in your delivery, be consistent in your product. So if I book you today and my shoot is amazing, and I recommend you to my cousin who books you next month, their shoot should be probably even more amazing, right? My cousin should not come back to tell me, hey, the photos were not, or like, your photos vary, your product varies. You have to be consistent because if you're not consistent, then people will not trust you, especially if they could go to your Instagram and say, hey, this person is not consistently producing. This is nice because maybe these people had more time or more money or more this or more that. You have to be willing and able to give every single client the same exact product because the product that is your brand, that is you.
Mhm.
You cannot pick and choose who you treat nicely and who you don't treat nicely. You have to be consistent.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I will be applying some of that to myself as well.
Yes.
So, and when you say what you want to shoot, when you started, did you know that already, or over time, did you kind of come to that realization? How was that process for you?
It was so much fun. I knew I wanted to shoot babies, which is right
Mhm.
now I'm like I'm shooting more weddings than babies, so I'm like my babies. But over time, I started shooting my friends' weddings, and people said you should shoot weddings, and I'm like no, because weddings require a lot. They require to be on. Like it's not like you can pose someone and tell them, okay, picture, and then you keep doing this until you get the right thing. If you miss a moment in a wedding, you miss a moment. You have
Mhm.
to be able to change your settings and change everything quickly, change your plans, change locations very quickly. So we didn't want to do weddings, but eventually we realized we love capturing love, and if we love to shoot engagements, then the next step is weddings. And anywhere that has emotions and joy and laughter, we would love to capture that. So it kind of evolved into weddings, and with St. Lucia being number one for weddings in the world,
Mhm. Mhm.
it happened. We shoot a lot of elopements. Last week we had two elopements, and they came with family, just immediate family. So one couple came with their dads, which was like the first we've ever seen. I was so sweet, their dads and her best friend, and another couple came with their parents, and one sibling. So it was that's what we love. We love no fuss. We love nobody's trying to be a model. Like, you will look like a model, but
Mhm.
we love that you focus on family and you focus on love and the joy of the day. And then we capture it as beautifully as it was instead of trying to create, like, it's not our day. So we should not be creating that experience. We should just be capturing the experience as beautiful as it happens. So,
I could see someone learning so much from you. I'm sitting here thinking, have you ever thought of like having somewhat of an apprentice to learn all of these things directly from you?
I wanted to have like weekly or monthly teachings on Instagram for like young photographers or even young entrepreneurs because I love giving my 2 cents. Anytime I meet a small business owner and they're starting out, I always tell them, you should do this, you should do that, you know, you can do this. So I would love to impart some knowledge, especially practical things like tax stuff, things that you learn when you're in it. So you this year you feel like, oh my gosh, I wish I knew this. Like if somebody could tell you what you need to know, you would save a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of stress, a lot of worry. I wanted to do that on Instagram. Yeah, I might work. I have a project that I'm working on. I don't want to say much about it yet, but it's a project I'm working on that ties in my whole what I know of photography and myself as a teacher, and then what people, that sort of thing. It's not really coaching. It's not really teaching. It's just a resource that I think that persons really would benefit from. That if I have time, I will.
Well, I'll keep an ear out because it sounds exciting. And it's actually very important, I think, to teach in a sense, like to impart that knowledge that you have. So I am all for that. And maybe we can talk later, see how I can even maybe collaborate with you on something
Yeah,
because that is a mission that I have myself. So let's talk some more about that.
yeah.
And actually, that brings us to something else. One
Mhm,
of the things we're trying to do with this podcast is to actually create a community of support.
mhm.
And we try to connect guests like yourself with listeners. And would you be open to giving up about maybe 30 minutes of your time to speak with someone just about business, photography,
Sure, no problem.
anything along that, along those
I
lines?
believe in mentoring, and yes, I will be open to that.
Okay, great. So tell us, how can our listeners reach you?
You could find me on Instagram, Alberta_Henry, or our website is www.albertahenry.com. Or you can email me, alberta@albertahenry.com. It's easy.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and spell it out? So
Alberta at Alberta, and Henry is Henry.
great. Thank you for that. Do you know any other entrepreneur you think would be interested in maybe coming on the podcast? I'm thinking that's another way of getting, to meet interesting people.
I think, well, my social media manager, Kimberly, she's a treasure trove of like everything. Everything you need to know, she knows people. She's connected. She has like 1,000 contacts in her phone. So she's
Mm.
connected. So she would
Hmm.
be awesome. She also has this non-profit called Uncommon Girl Ministry. I'm actually heading up Uncommon Girl in Science. So we're just starting out. So that would be a great thing. There's Uncommon Girl in Science, in business, I believe, and she's leading up the faith part of it. So that would be awesome. I know quite a lot of other people. So you could just, let me know what industry you're interested in.
Well, thank you for that. You had me at the edge of my seat. This has been very, very interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you. And I've learned so much. I think I've gotten to know you a little better, even though we've known each other
Yeah.
all these years. So thank you so much for taking time out to speak with me, for adding so much value for our listeners.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I had fun. I mean,
Well, I'm glad that you did. Well, let's do this again soon, okay? Have a good one.
bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Begin, Build, Blossom, Your Business Journey, a CME Accounting LLC podcast. Please subscribe and be on the lookout for our next episode. If you'd like to share any feedback with us, please email us at podcast@cmeaccountingllc.com.